when I was younger, I held massive grudges and toxic thought processes. I had no issue wishing harm on other people. And there are certain people that without question I will still wish harm upon. But as I've aged, I've mellowed a little bit. And I don't wish harm on people and their families, because I've lived long enough and experienced enough to understand that while I don't believe in a higher power, karma's real and it will bite you in the ass sure as the sun comes up. So I'm not wishing harm on anybody. But I am going to tell you this. There are certain people that when their time on this planet comes to an end, I am A, not going to bat a tear and shed a tear, and B, I might even have a little bit of a celebratory smoke. And in the team picture of the top of that list is Mitch motherfucking McConnell.
And the party that brought you, well, we're all going to die, comes, quote, they'll get over it. Republicans doubling and tripling down today on their naked callousness and public indifference to the suffering of their own constituents. Also that Donald Trump can do a victory lap in the now bulldozed Rose Garden. That quote, they'll get over it, comes from none other than former Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell. And like Senator Joni Ernst's grim and dismissive response to her own constituent's face, she's the one that said we're all going to die, McConnell was talking about the same thing, those massive cuts to Medicaid. Punchbowl News reports that Mitch McConnell's comment happened in a closed-door meeting of the Senate Republican caucus, where Mitch McConnell said regarding Trump's so-called big beautiful bill this, quote, failure isn't an option. Quote, I know a lot of us are hearing from people back home about Medicaid, but they'll get over it. It is worth noting that Medicaid isn't some obscure opt-in optional program. According to one poll, 69% of all Americans say that someone close to them has used Medicaid at some point in their lives. 56% of all Americans say that either they or a family member have at some point been on Medicaid, been covered by Medicaid. In a statement, a spokesperson for Mitch McConnell said the senator was talking about, quote, the people who are abusing Medicaid, the able-bodied Americans who should be working, end quote. It's not exactly a denial of what he said. If anything, the statement implies that McConnell believes that people affected by cuts to Medicaid are some massive pool of 16 million freeloaders who choose not to work and will, in his words, his quote, get over it. But what makes Mitch McConnell's indifference to the response from his own voters, fear and anger of actual Republican voters, is that at the same meeting where he said that, North Carolina Republican Tom Tillis was warning his colleagues that gutting Medicaid is a political disaster for him and the entire GOP. Punchbowl News reports that Tillis, arguably one of the most vulnerable Republicans up for election next year, passed around a flyer to his colleagues in which he, quote, warned GOP senators that Republicans will suffer major electoral losses in 2026 if the Senate's Medicaid provider tax framework becomes law. That's according to 3 Republican senators. Tillis compared it to the Obamacare backlash that hampered Democrats a decade ago. He's referring to the red wave after the passage of the Affordable Care Act. Democrats lost more than 60 seats in the House in electoral wipeout at the time.
They'll get over it. Mitch McConnell, 2025. Like I said, I'm not wishing anybody harm or ill will. Ill will is probably the wrong word there. Ill health. But when it happens, because it happens to all of us, some of us are going to get over it sooner than others.